Imagine downloading an app that doesn't just track deaths near you, but reveals every terrifying detail, the cause, the location, and even the path the bodies have taken. At first, you might think it's just a clever gimmick, but for me, it was a nightmare come to life. 12 years ago, I made a decision that changed everything. It began with a fit of rage, killing someone close to me. But that day, I didn't just end a life, I discovered something about myself. I didn't just kill out of anger. I killed because I enjoyed it. The fear, the control, the absolute chaos it brought to those around me was addictive. As a cop, no one ever suspected me. My double life was perfect. By day, I upheld the law. By night, I shattered it. For years, I outsmarted every investigator and left no trace. I believed I was untouchable. That belief held firm until the day I discovered the Death app. The story truly began when Benjamin, a close friend and colleague, approached me during a smoke break. He'd been exploring obscure apps online and found some truly bizarre ones. "You ever heard of the Death app?" he asked, exhaling a cloud of smoke. "No. What's it supposed to do?" "Claims to track nearby death's time, place, cause, everything." Sounds ridiculous, right? But it's trending in some forums. Thought I'd check it out. His words intrigued me. An app that tracks deaths? It sounded absurd, but also like something that could be useful or dangerous for someone like me. I laughed it off at the time, pretending to dismiss it as nonsense. Back in college, I was part of the drama club. I remember the day my acting skills first worked to my advantage, and I plan to use them again now. A few days ago, when I came to the school as a guest lecturer to teach kids about the dangers of trusting strangers, there was a boy named Jeremy, a smug little know-it-all. He was a student just yesterday. Now, he was a trophy, ready to be put on display, a reminder for people to stop trusting the police. 1. Because they're pathetically incompetent. And 2. Because the killer is the cop. When I approached, he was leaning weakly against the wall, his wide, terrified eyes locking onto mine. Despite his condition, he still had enough strength, left enough strength to fear me, and enough strength to satisfy me. I slipped on my gloves and started throttling him. His little eyes widened with fear, pain, and despair. Maybe he'd forgotten that I was his abductor. Maybe, seeing me in my police uniform, he thought I'd come to save him instead of strangle him. I don't know what he thought, and I don't care. I liked it. The boy thrashed violently, desperate to survive. At first, it took effort to keep my grip on his neck, but soon, his struggles began to weaken. Eventually, there was no sign of life left in him. His body went limp, like a doll. That's when I stopped. I grinned. Another body added to my kill count, the youngest so far. Am I a monster? Yes. Am I proud of it? Absolutely. Then, I stuffed his corpse into a golf bag, making sure to leave no trace of DNA behind. I planned to dump him in the river, bag and all. I changed into workout clothes, just in case anyone got suspicious of me carrying the bag. To complete the look, I brought along a tennis racket. If anyone saw me, they'd think I was heading to a late-night tennis session. Luckily, I didn't encounter anyone on my way to the lake. The area was deserted. At the water's edge, I pulled the boy's body from the bag. I'd been careful to remove any tape or rope marks from him. Then, with a final heave, I threw him into his watery grave. It was done. Time to go home. Later that night, curiosity got the better of me. I searched for the Death app and found it in the App Store. Its logo was a white crucifix against a pitch-black background, and it was developed by a company called River Styx. The description claimed the app could pinpoint deaths in real time, with filters for cause, location, and even burial sites. I downloaded it, thinking it would be some harmless prank. When I opened it, the eerie interface caught my attention immediately. Dark cemetery illustration with options to explore deaths by cause, location, or time. Out of curiosity, I selected the by cause of death filter and chose murder. The map that appeared made my blood run cold. My house was covered in red squares, each representing a murder victim. There were 8 in total, the exact number of people I had killed. At first, I thought it was a coincidence or a sick joke. But when I zoomed in, the app revealed chilling details. Names of victims, times of death, and precise locations, all accurate. And then I saw it. The most recent victim, Jeremy, the boy I had killed hours earlier, already marked on the map. Panic set in. How could this app know? I checked my house, my basement, every hiding spot. No one could have seen what I'd done. The bodies were concealed, the evidence erased, and yet the app knew everything. Despite feeling unsettled, I headed to my bedroom, fatigue finally catching up to me. I turned off my phone and laid down on my bed, preparing for tomorrow. I started my day with a small breakfast and then got to work cleaning the basement. I had resolved to be more cautious, leaving no trace of struggle or blood. A notification popped up on my phone. There were 2 alerts. One was from Benjamin, saying the chief wanted all units to help find Jeremy. The other was from the death app. The app has been successfully updated. For some reason, curiosity got the better of me. What kind of update was it? Bug fixes? A UI change? I couldn't help myself and opened the app. A notification about the update appeared immediately. Update 2.0. New features. Timeline. Track where the bodies are after death. Minor bug fixes. The developers had even included a step-by-step guide on how to use the new feature. I scrolled through the app, navigating to the map. My eyes caught something odd, a single marker at a cemetery. It was marked old age, despite this app supposedly only showing recent deaths. How recent was recent, exactly? When I pressed the square, I saw something that made my entire body freeze with fear. It was literally displaying the timeline of where the corpse had been before its current location. You know how Google Maps tracks where you've been and when? If you enable location sharing, yeah, like that. When the tutorial for using this new feature ended, I noticed a red square on the lake, the exact place where I had dumped the body. Hesitant, I pressed the square to check the location of the corpse, and the thing I feared most appeared right in front of me. It showed that the corpse had come from my house, that it had died at my house, that it was murdered at my house. While some might think this is just a sick joke meant to make people look like killers, any rational person, especially the police, would immediately sense that something was off, even if they didn't believe a single thing about the app. The bus intercom announced my arrival at the station. I calmed my thoughts and stepped off the bus. At least 9 people, including me, headed into the forest where I had dumped the body. Believing in any possibility to shift suspicion away from myself, this was my chance to distance myself from the crime. By luring them to the lake and pretending it was my first time at the location, I could play the role of a hardworking policeman who had stumbled upon the body for the victim's family, not the killer. I just needed to waste enough time to make my discovery look like a coincidence. As we trekked into the forest, we decided to split up into smaller groups to cover multiple areas. This was the moment I knew luck was on my side. I was assigned to search alone near the location where I had hidden the body. With enough time to ensure there was no evidence left behind, I would report the body on my turn. When I reached the lake, I scanned the area for any signs of being traces of my previous visit or incriminating evidence. Then, I checked under the lake to confirm the body was still there. It was. The bag containing the corpse remained submerged. But now, a new question gnawed at my mind. How did the app know I killed the boy at my house and dumped him in the lake? As these thoughts haunted me, I saw Benjamin approach the lake from a different angle. That was when he dropped the bombshell. "Hey buddy, are you familiar with the strange app? I downloaded it today after seeing it online. Something tells me here is a corpse in this lake. I think the app's called Death. Wondering if it's some kind of scam or not." He couldn't be serious. He just casually revealed he'd downloaded the app and was one step closer to finding the body. If he discovered it, he would know the app wasn't a hoax. Worse, the new update showing the death locations of murder victims and the path their bodies had traveled would expose me as the boy's killer. He knew where I lived. The body came from my house. Luckily, I had anticipated this and already devised a solution. A way to stop him from finding the body. Real? I checked the lake, and it here is nothing here. Maybe the app's just another hoax, I said, feigning nonchalance. Benjamin seemed to believe my lie. Why wouldn't he? He didn't know I was a killer. To him, I was just another cop, here to search for a corpse, not to hide one. Before he could respond, I sealed the deal by transmitting a message to the rest of the team. "Lake is secure. No sign of the body." Benjamin looked confused. Soon, though, his confusion began to morph into suspicion. He was starting to sense I was hiding something, which, of course, I was. I quickly scanned the area for distraction and spotted a small warehouse in the middle of the forest. "Have you checked there?" I asked. "No." Without a word, we both knew we had to investigate. I led the way, quickening my pace. Luckily, Benjamin wasn't keeping up. As I neared the warehouse, I mentally checked my gear. A police jacket covering my uniform, black pants, gloves to conceal my fingerprints, and a police hat. Using my gun was out of the question. It would alert everyone. So, I opted for a quieter method. Something I had prepared in case I was ever disarmed. I entered the warehouse ahead of Benjamin, positioning myself against the wall beside the entrance. The moment he stepped inside, I sprang into action, covering his mouth. Even as a cop, an ambush like this was unexpected and fatal. A few more stabs, just a few more before someone came in. But then, I froze. My hand began to shake not from fear or remorse, but from a sudden cramp. I dropped the knife and stared at Benjamin's body. He had stopped breathing. When I checked for a pulse, there was nothing. This was the first time I had killed a fellow cop. I dragged Benjamin's corpse to the back of the house, his face pressed against the floor as blood flowed from his back. I couldn't let the blood spill onto the warehouse. After placing him in a not-so-discreet, yet sufficiently hidden location, I took out his phone, unlocked it with his fingerprints, and saw it the Death app. I immediately deleted the app from Benjamin's phone and crushed it for good measure before sending a DM to the rest of the group. Nothing in the surrounding area. I will return home until further notice. As I confirmed there was no evidence linking me to the murder, I smirked. This was an achievement. I had killed a cop. Who was going to stop me now? I feigned ignorance, ready to act shocked once Benjamin's body was found. That's when my phone buzzed with a notification. Was it an email? A response to my DM in the police chat room? No, it wasn't either of those, though I hoped it was. It was a notification from the app, and it wasn't about an update. Alert. Someone just died near your area. Cause: murder. The accuracy of the notification was unsettling. This wasn't a hoax app or a coincidence. Someone had died. Murdered. I knew that for a fact because I was the killer. The app didn't know who the killer was, but it knew Benjamin had been murdered. My blood ran hot and cold at the same time. This goddamned app knew every single death in the area. It knew exactly when, where, and how people died. A red square marking the forest showed more details. The murder had occurred just minutes ago. It felt as if the app was mocking me, reminding me that I couldn't escape justice, that someone, or something, was always watching. I wondered who they were. Who were the app's creators? I immediately searched through the credits or acknowledgement section of the app, desperate to find a name. There it was, River Styx. Who were these people? The name alone sounded ominous, as if they knew everything I had done and could soon end my spree. I couldn't let that happen. As I waited for the bus, I decided to search the name on Google. I started without adding the word company and found results about Greek mythology. According to myth, the River Styx was the boundary between the land of the living and the dead. When I added company at the end of the name, I finally found something website. As soon as I opened it, I was greeted by their welcoming message and the confirmation that they were the creators of the Death app. The strange thing was that there was no other information besides the fact that they made the app. No purpose, no referral. I then went back to Google and visited Google Maps, hoping to find an HQ nearby that I could visit for my other purpose. I did manage to find the address of the HQ. The nearest police station to the River Styx was 10 minutes away, which meant I had just enough time. I returned home and started packing weapons into the back of my car, the one I usually use for grocery runs. Instead of heading to the shops for food, I was heading to the company for blood. I knew I had to do something to delete this app, even if it meant using force. As the morning commute filled the streets of Philadelphia, the Death app began to ring more violently, as multiple deaths had been announced while I was passing by a hospital. This goddamn app. I passed by the exact location of the company building while finding a place to park my car. It was a one-story building the size of a basketball court. The word Styx was written on the door. I was at the right place. I entered the parking garage and took the handgun and a small SMG from the trunk, hid them discreetly, and headed in for the deal. The door was open, and multiple people looked at me. A policeman entered the building, confused, probably thinking I was here for someone's arrest. He never expected I came to kill them all. I opened fire on the workers. One by one, those who were on computers, doing coding, and those coming out after a meeting. I started spraying the gun in every direction, ensuring everyone died. The first round of bullets managed to kill 3 employees. The survivors looked at me in confusion, but I didn't care. I continued the massacre, firing at everyone. All hell broke loose. Some employees ran out, while others hid. But I continued the killing. That was until someone from behind me kicked me into the walls. Not only did it make me lose my balance, but whoever kicked me was incredibly powerful. The impact of the kick created a hole in the wall, and I lay there, numb. I am a policeman with decent physical ability, but someone just kicked me so hard I was literally thrown into the wall. Just as I was trying to regain my senses, I felt something cover my hand, a sound I'd heard too many times before. Handcuffs. One of the employees, I don't know who, literally handcuffed me and tied me to the table legs. When I looked at the man, trying to yell at him, I stopped. He had a face that didn't look human at all, something that seemed like it just crawled out of the bowels of hell. It didn't even feel like I was seeing a human. Yet, the other people around me seemed completely laid back, as if this was no problem, while they were literally surrounding what I could only describe as a demon. That's when I saw the figure's clothes. A robe with the word Styx on it. What are you guys? The figure took off his robe, and that's when I felt more dread. This face, this figure, despite looking non-human, at least had human facial features that made me recognize him instantly. Simeon? Simeon stared at me with a cold glare and gestured for all his workers to leave the mess. It was just me, his old friend, and him. "Who are you?" "Are you?" "I am Simeon," the figure said. "Or at least what you think I am." What the hell was this guy talking about? Then what are you then? That was my next question. Death. I looked at Simeon. What did this asshole just say? Did he just say he is? You look confused, puzzled by what I said, Simeon continued. But it's exactly what you think, or maybe the opposite of what you think. I am not talking about an alias or a nickname. I am telling you exactly who I am, who we are. As soon as I heard we, the employees I shot, who had been lying on the floor while I was numb, stood up, unscathed. It was as if the bullets didn't even hit them. But I swear I shot each one in the head. Do you know what I hate the most, buddy? Simeon went to my eye level and said, "It's when I have to reap the souls of people who die without any wrongdoing to their name. People, kids you killed are prime examples. Every day I reap the soul of a child ruins my entire fucking day." Simeon grabbed my throat and forced me to stand up. I managed to spit out a word to prove him wrong. "You, how long have you been reaping souls, you sick freak?" "Since the beginning of time." "Then you must have killed millions." "I haven't killed millions, and you dare lecture me?" Simeon started to laugh. "Right. What's the difference between killing for the greater good and killing for laughter, old friend? Even a damn baby knows that the result justifies the means. I kill for the law, and you kill for yourself. You told me when we were cops that the motive of a killer makes them more despicable than others." Simeon grabbed me and placed me closer to him, his eyes glowing red. "A human cannot play something that makes the natural order natural. You killers are better off gone from our job and gone from this society. This human society you try to ruin. Ruining this society ruins the natural order. You are sickening to think that you are more noble than I am." That was when I heard the sirens outside, and Simeon smiled. "When I drag your soul down to the bowels of hell, I will be very satisfied." The last thing I saw before everything went black was the app on my phone, its screen displaying one final message. Death always finds its way. Do you believe that the Death app story could actually be true? Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel to stay updated with the latest terrifying and thrilling stories.